Yesterday, it was announced that there is a new Chris Brown documentary. This documentary will be airing on ID, Investigation Discovery. Let's take a listen to the trailer that they dropped yesterday.
Chris Brown is the name. Get used to that right there.
Chris Brown's an amazing and talented musician, but let's call a thing a thing. He's an abuser of women, consistently, unapologetically.
Did Chris pull a gun on that girl?
When is your hearing for your restraining order?
There's a long list of various different women
You seem pretty upset. Are you sure you don't really call victims advocates, have them come talk to you?
who've accused Chris Brown of assaulting them.
Senator Chris Brown has been detained in an alleged case of rape.
He has an audience full of assault deniers.
No, I have not spoken about this matter publicly, but that's the only way that he can be stopped.
So this documentary, and there's been several documentaries over the last couple of years following all of the incidents that have happened with Chris Brown. But this documentary, airing on ID, was shared with the caption, "Chris Brown, A History of Violence," charts Chris Brown's past all the way back to his troubled childhood, explores the lasting impact of the cycle of abuse, and poses the question, how does a man with such a violent public record maintain his superstar status? With expert and cultural commentary layered throughout, the documentary provides thoughtful reflections into each survivor's experience and a psychological destruction in the aftermath of their abuse. Now, when this hit the timeline, it hit, like, it was Variety, Hollywood Reporter, X, Instagram, and as always with Chris Brown, I believe that reactions are all over the place. Some people, I know when I saw it, I was like, why right now? Like, what did he do right now? Like, why are we seeing this right now? We've seen so many documentaries and heard so much about this. But there are other people on the other side that every single time, someone says that, people are like, well, he should always be reminded because this is what happened. And in this documentary, from what I can tell from the trailer, of course, they're going to go into the Rihanna, which happened back in February 2009 when he was 17 years old. And Karrueche, that situation, she's also shown in the documentary as well. They were together from 2011 to 2015. She filed a restraining order in 2017. And then there is another person who we don't know the identity of that is also, it seems like.
Is that the voice that they
The voice that's kind of chopped and screwed. Yeah, that is like speaking out on something as well, too. There's hashtags being used, like no excuse for abuse. So
I wonder if they spoke to the victims, though. I wonder if they spoke to Rihanna, if they spoke to Karrueche, because that might be triggering to them. They might not want that out there. They might not want their name involved with this.
We don't know. All we have is a trailer right now. For me, when I saw it, I was just like, I just didn't understand, like, why? Like, why right now? Like, everybody, there's not too many people right now who don't know his past, what has happened. It's just like, why stir it up? And they just, and then recently, ID, they did a Diddy documentary as well, too.
It came out already?
Let me double check
I don't think
that.
it came out already.
Yeah, but
this would be like the third Diddy documentary already, right?
Yeah, because TMZ did one as well, too, which I understand because it's relevant, it's topical right now.
How do you do a documentary right now when he's still going through it? The case is still going on.
Well, because we
don't know the truth. We don't know what's right and what's wrong. We don't know what's factual and what's not factual.
There's still so much information. Like, we don't know what he is charged of, but it's like for instance, TMZ did one documentary. It took you through everything that led up to where we are now. Cassie's filing, all that. And then it's like, stay tuned for more. Now they just dropped another one where we now have the attorney talking through the case and the bail and the baby oil and all that stuff. They're going to keep you going along. But I just say this to say that I feel like with the Chris Brown stuff, like, news-wise, topically right now, in my opinion, I wasn't looking for this. It caught me off guard when I saw it on the timeline.
Well, the problem I have with the documentary, like the Chris Brown documentary, is when it comes to the victims and alleged victims, these networks aren't doing it because they're trying to actually raise awareness to anything. They are just capitalizing off trauma. Are they giving the proceeds that they will make off the documentary to any domestic violence organizations, any mental health organizations, any organizations that help people work through trauma? If not, then they're just profiting off people's pain, and I don't like that. Are any of the proceeds going to any of those things?
I'm looking at, me, I'm looking at it right now.
And in Chris's case, I don't know how you create these kinds of documentaries based off allegations. If you're reporting on things that actually happened, things he's been arrested for, I get it. But putting a new accuser on there, having her face covered up, distorting her voice, how do we know that's even real and not something done for TV? And shouldn't that person be going to the police or suing him? How do you go to shoot a documentary first? And why would a person at a network want them to do a documentary before they go to the law or take legal action. Well, I'll tell you why, because they care about producing a show and getting ratings more than they do alleged victims.
I mean, that's television, right? But at the same time, I think a network like ID who does these things, I'm sure they have a legal team that is going to make sure that even if it's just alleged, there's ways around.
But why would you, if somebody came to you and told you that story, why is your mind to say, okay, let's put them on TV? Wouldn't you tell them to go take legal action? Wouldn't you tell them to go to the law first? Why would you just exploit that story for television? Me as a person or
ID as a network? Because ID as a network,
they need to make their money.
Chris Brown is always a hot button topic, no matter what.
They would have
right?
made their money.
Though.
It is whack. It's horrible.
That's the content era that we live in. You know what I mean? Controversy sells.
That's whack.
Now, to answer your question, ID does have a No Excuse for Abuse campaign, and it's now in its 3rd year in partnership with No More Foundation. And this is an effort to stem domestic violence and sexual assault. It has an effort to stem domestic violence, sexual assault, and its aim is to shed light on the dynamics of intimate partner violence with programming and resources. So they do provide resources, and a lot of their programming is dedicated to empowering individuals and communities through these programs and the different campaigns they do.
So the proceeds from these going to that campaign?
I don't know that exactly. However, they do say that they provide resources to show survivors that their loved ones, show survivors and their loved ones that they are not alone and that there is help available. So that it seems that way, but I can't answer that 100%.
It's just wild to me that an alleged victim would come to you and tell you this story, and your mindset is, well, let's put them on television.
Yeah.
I want to know that the person, I would have encouraged the person to go take legal action or go to law enforcement. Why you just put a camera in their face?
Yeah, I never
whether you black
that.
them and change their voice or not. Like, why is that your mindset?
I never liked that, and I never liked the fact that they could just do documentaries on somebody's life and not get it authorized. Like we could just do a documentary on Lauren.
Yeah, you could.
But that ain't right. But it's your life story. I'm telling your life story. That's whack.
I mean, right now that'd be a short story. You got to give us some time.
You're right.
That's okay. Just because yours is like tribal decades old.
It is. I'm there.
Fossil fuel. Like, don't, please relax.
I've been around.
And we know.
They're working on docs on us right now.
You're worn out. We know you've been around. You're worn out.
I've been
Flipped
around.
upside down. Baby old all around.
It's called longevity. It's called longevity and consistency. Okay, we've been around for a while. You know,
all right.
15 years here.
All right, gals. All right, gals.
It's Envy.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm gonna do a documentary. It's called The Trauma That Is the Trauma.
What?
You are trauma, and you caused the trauma, Mr. Mental Health.
All right. Well, that is Just With The Mess with Lauren LaRosa. When we come back, we got front page news, and then Congressman Byron Donalds from Florida will be joining us. So don't go anywhere. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up early in the morning. The Breakfast Club.